Thank you,
I
Rebecca.
guess last question before we move on. Would you spin the block?
What is wrong with you?
Like, I feel like that is a journalistic question.
What? This is Shana,
And Chris.
and we are Bad Queers. If you came out of the closet and got put in a box of stereotypes you don't belong to, then welcome to the Bad Queers Club.
All right, this week in Queer Urban Dictionary, I have box. Box is slang for vulva or vagina. My sentence is she's always joking about keeping the box on lock until the right one comes along. Box.
Hmm, box. All right, my Queer Urban Dictionary word of the week, bringing it back in time for the holidays, is rainbow washing. Rainbow washing, often referred to as pink capitalism, that is marketed from brands to express their solidarity with the LGBTQ2S plus community while still not advocating for our community. My sentence: many corporations that engage in rainbow washing are linked to private prisons, slave labor, and attempting to erase the work that Black and trans women have done for the community. Got this information from Queer Brown Vegan.
Hmm. Well, well, well. Well, well, well. We're here.
We are
We are
literally going to
here.
have to
We are here.
praise
We are here.
Pray Tell for
hmm
this next bit.
Before I actually go into that, how do you feel about the praising Pray Tell? We've had, some time now, been able to absorb it. Does it feel right?
It's grown on me.
Okay.
It has grown on me. I feel
It's grown
like
on you.
with the
hmm
shift and the kissing of the hands just caused us to have to go
It
back to the
is
character. And it's like,
quite
I
something.
understand. I
Did not age
do
well.
understand. So, praising Pray Tell is all right.
Yeah.
We've moved
Well,
with it. We've moved with it. But I'm literally praising Pray Tell, praying to Pray Tell. All the things.
hmm Well, I want to, before we just get into anything, I want to thank you in advance because we have teased this episode and this, which will now be a segment. It'll be a special segment because what we're going to do today is we're going to get into your love life, your heart
Mm,
life. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. You know, I think it could help a lot of folks. There's things I need to catch up on
uh,
that, I know, but we haven't delved into and everything. So, I want to thank you for your vulnerability in advance,
mm-hmm.
candid answers, your
Mm-hmm.
thoughtful answers, and everything. And, if there's anything you don't want to answer, let me know because honestly, this is just a discussion between friends and co hosts. So, it's a safe place. You could be like, hey, no, and I'll stop. Um, so yeah, we're gonna get into your love life because
Mm-hmm.
there's been changes. Um, Shana, tell us about your current relationship status. How you got there. A brief
I
description of how you got
need
there.
everyone to know, if you're not watching this, just to see my face and the amount that I am moving and squirming and doing all the things that is going to be me the rest of this time.
Mhm.
I thought we would
Why
just
are
keep
you moving and
mentioning.
squirming? We'll get to it. Just
Friend,
answer my
friend,
first
don't put
question
your therapy
first.
voice on.
Look.
Don't put your therapy
Mm,
voice on. Leave
mhm.
me alone.
I wasn't actually trying to do therapy. I'm actually trying to do like news magazine, like
No,
2020,
I don't like it.
Dateline-ish.
I don't
You
like
don't
it.
like it?
Mm-mm.
I'm
Stop
gonna
it
try
right now.
different things during this. This is the
Okay.
first episode. We're just winging it. So
This
just
is y'all. So, this special episode is basically going to break down the change in my love life that has happened. I am
Mhm.
now single. A lot of you who have been here
Mhm.
for the podcast, I have been in a relationship for majority of
Mhm.
the podcast. I did go through
Mhm.
another breakup. Um,
Mhm.
and then it was a short turnaround. And then I was in another relationship. And for that relationship, I have been in for almost all the time that we've had the podcast. So this is like the longest stint that I have been single since we have had the
Wow.
podcast.
Oh,
So,
this is a podcast. Okay. It's
yes.
like, wow.
No, no, not like in
Yeah.
general. No, I
In
do
general.
not.
Okay.
I was
I was
like,
like,
no,
whoa.
no. I've been out.
Questions there.
I
I
not
was
not in
like,
the
let
streets
me
because I am
thumb
not
through the
made.
questions.
I'm not made for the streets, but I have been,
Yeah.
out single, whatever else. And then it was just
hmm
like a back to back to back relationships, but it was like two back to back long term relationships. But the most recent one ended in June. And
Okay.
yeah, we've been out here just
Mm-hmm.
trying to love on ourselves and
Yeah.
living in our skin and, just trying to explore what this
Mm-hmm.
life is like,
Yeah.
what this single life is like.
Oh, friend. So yeah, okay, single since June. When you
Hmm.
told me a couple months ago, I was, oh, it kind of came up. Would you say that the breakup was a surprise for you? Were you anticipating it? Was there static before? Like, yeah. Now reflecting back, was it
Reflecting
a
back,
surprise?
like I mean, like most relationships, they're not perfect by any means and
And not supposed to be.
not supposed to be at all. I think it
Hmm.
was one of those situations where like in the moment I felt that there was more that we could do, but then you reflect on it and it's just like the things are supposed to happen that are supposed to happen.
Hmm.
We are both this person is the first person that I have still been like, let's try to be cool after this.
Mm.
We are in each
Hmm.
other's lives, we are in each other's spaces. So that is a new experience as well to be kind of like moving through and navigating. Nothing's perfect. You're slipping, you're sliding, you're talking, you're not talking, you're you just
Hmm.
you're just trying to figure it out. That's all we're trying to do is figuring it
Hmm.
out. But at the end of the day, there is still just like a love and a hope for the best for each other. And that is all that I could really hope for.
Was it your idea, or did y'all both mutually come to the like, let's still be friends and like actually
We're gonna
really
skip
still
that
be
question.
friends?
Nope.
Okay. That's hey, stop. Okay, cool. And that's all I need.
Let's say it
Okay.
was an adult conversation.
Okay.
It was an adult conversation
It was an
between two
adult
adults.
conversation.
That's what it
Okay.
was. Yes.
Okay. So since I've known you, as you mentioned, I when I met you, you were in a different relationship, and then you had this one. Um, what would you say is the biggest difference between that relationship, the first one that I was privy to, and this one that you just recently ended this year?
This one was so much healthier.
Mm,
So much
that's great.
healthier. But then that also goes to show like how uh like anxiety and stuff shows up in different ways to go from like
Mm-hmm.
an unhealthy relationship to a healthy relationship and then allowing anxiety to sit and show up and be like, but bad things are supposed to be happening, but it's like good things are
Mm-hmm.
happening. Overall, it was good. I was like, we had a lot of things in common,
Mm-hmm.
which was a shift. We did a lot of things together, which was also a shift. We traveled a bunch more. Like there was just a lot of differences, but I think for that one it was great because we were such good friends
Okay.
within it. And I think that was like the biggest shift was
Always
like the
helps.
friendship. Like even when I sit and I'm like, man, I want to text her about the show or I want to talk about this thing
Mm-hmm.
and it's like this thing is happening in the world and I know she's watching it and I know she's paying attention to it, but
Yeah.
like we're easing back on some of the communication and things. But there are some stuff that it's like this is very important news, so we text each other about it. But
Mm.
it's I think that's the hardest part coming out of it is just being like, my friend, my friend is
Yeah.
over there now.
The loss of a
We
friend
have
and
to
two
we have
two
to take a
things.
break
Yeah.
here. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think that was the biggest change was like it being rooted in really solid friendship and then it leaving that friendship.
How have your friends groups been with this and navigating that? Because you have a lot of friends and y'all both have, shared friends. So how
Hmm.
has that been navigating that?
We do have a lot of shared friends. Like I said, this is us in shared spaces
Mm-hmm.
for the first time that I've had to do that in a relationship. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
for a long-term relationship, especially. And it's one of those things where there's going to be friction no matter what and you're just kind of trying to figure it out. One of you can be fine, the other one could be off, it could switch. Another
Mm-hmm.
day somebody could do one thing and then you're hyper attuned to it and then you
Yeah.
can't stop paying attention to it the whole time. um you're on opposite sides of the room and you're just kind of being aware of how you're moving, but then when you come together you're trying not to make it awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. So it's, feelings come up in certain
Mm-hmm.
environments as well because it could have
Mm-hmm.
had a memory, it could have had a moment, it could have had anything. So it's definitely different. But the key thing that I have tried to do is to make sure that I clearly communicate my boundaries with my friends to say, here's what I want to know, here's what I don't want to know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, here are the ways that I am moving through this, and here are the ways that you can support me in that.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes with friends, like it's happened, they've told me a bit too much, and I have to come back and be like,
Mm-hmm.
don't want to know that. Don't need to know
Yeah.
that. That is not information that I need to have privy to because it's very easy in mutual friend groups to have friends spy. And I'm like, that's not
Yeah.
me. So I've also had to have those
They're like, hey,
conversations.
girl, she's doing bad. It's
Right. And
it's bad for her.
you're like, what am I supposed to do with that? Like I've had
Yeah.
friends come up and be like,
Yeah.
hey, she's upset. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
We can't,
Mm-hmm.
that's not our relationship anymore. The same with friends just coming and like finding out information and then wanting to come and tell you about the information because they feel like you want to know that information. And I'm like, nope, actually the opposite. I'm gonna mind
Yeah.
my business.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let her live. And if I find out about it, it's because she has told me about it.
Yeah.
And that's where I try to move. So I have set very strong boundaries. That doesn't mean that it hasn't happened or slipped or friends are trying to navigate, especially friends who um are friends with both of us or like good friends with
Mm-hmm.
both of us. And it's like sometimes I'll text and be like, hey, can we hang out? And they're like, ooh, sorry, I'm actually hanging out with your ex. And it's like, okay. And
Mm-hmm.
for me as an adult and just trying to be like a good person as well, it's like, okay, great. Like when
Have
we broke
fun.
up, it wasn't a choose sides type energy. It wasn't anything like that. It was just we are trying to navigate what it is. And so I'm like, yes,
Mm-hmm.
please communicate with me that you're hanging out with her. And that is totally fine. Great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to hear this. I'm happy that you all are hanging out. What are you doing on this day? So yeah, so really it's just having very, very clear boundaries with your friends
Mm-hmm.
of what and how you're maneuvering and the things that you're doing. And also be prepared if you're one of those people who tries to take advantage of the boundaries to have your friends call you on it. That is
Mm-hmm.
not me, but I'm just letting y'all know
Okay, I
because
was
I've
gonna
seen that
say.
happen. It's not me. No, I was very
Okay.
clear from the jump where I was like, here's what I want to know, here's what I don't want to know. And it's nothing
Mm-hmm.
like any of the stuff that I wanted to know was not like personal. It's like public information that I could have found out, but I probably want to hear it from a friend rather
Okay,
than
that's fair.
public information type thing. Um, so yeah, but no, that was my biggest thing. And I think with some of our friends, they're trying to figure out how to navigate it. But as a friend who is dealing with these types of things, because I had a couple of friends go through that a
Mm-hmm.
couple months before me, and then we became a little pod for the summer, which was very nice.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just ask. Don't assume.
Okay.
Don't assume your friends want to know things. Don't assume because you want to know things that they want to know things. All of that. Literally just over ask.
Mm-hmm. Have y'all seen each other out in social situations already? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How was it the first time? And well, I guess I don't know how long, like length of time wise it was, like where maybe you hadn't seen her in a couple weeks, but how was that first interaction post breakup in a public place?
Well, so we were still living together for a bit, and then
Okay. How long did y'all stay together or live together before physically breaking up?
like 2 years. I think like 2 years.
Okay.
That feels right.
Wait, this your most recent breakup?
Yeah, we lived
Oh.
together for like 2 years.
No, I guess since the breakup, like how long
Oh,
had it been since you said it was like 2 years? I was like,
my bad.
I
how
said
how long has it been
it
since?
must
I
have
mean,
been
I
yeah.
see her.
I was like,
I
it was my
literally saw her
question.
days later. Like,
Okay. Okay. So still.
yeah,
So how does
like
that
because
work with no, go ahead. Sorry.
we play sports together.
Yeah.
So it's like we're in
You're gonna see
similar
each other.
spaces. We're going to see
Okay.
each other. That is the thing. Like knew
Yeah.
that was going to happen. Wasn't like you stop the sport, you stop the sport. It's like we both love the sport, so
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna be in it. Like we're on different teams, but yeah.
Yeah. What's the I guess what does that look like or y'all's friendship moving forward? Like you mentioned like maybe like backing up from communication a little bit. Like is there I guess what's the end goal of it? Do you still want your ex to be a person and a friend in your life or is it like y'all are weaning each other off of each other? Like how I guess, yeah, what's the plan for it like long term? Like, will she always be a person in your life that is still a friend? And you have a lot of friends. So like this is very possible. Like she could absolutely be, and y'all were friends before, and there's a lot of people who do that. So like
Hmm.
obviously you could remain friends, but is that the goal, is just to remain acquaintances and friends? Like how do you, I guess, how are you moving on with still communicating with that person? And I know you don't talk every day or so
Mm-mm.
regularly, but like, how does that help with moving on? Or does it help?
Yeah, I
Controller.
think I think it actually makes it a lot harder,
Yeah,
honestly, especially when
I
there's
see that.
still love there too. That it
Yeah.
makes it so much harder. Man, the way I can cut off somebody, but
Bet
like
you can.
chopped, didn't know you,
Yeah.
don't know what
Yeah.
that time of my life was with you, all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually my MO. I'm like
Mm-hmm.
done, block, 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 block.
And it certainly was.
I'm good. I'm
I
good and
see
I'm
you in
out.
action.
Okay? Like
Yeah.
the way I don't know anything. Like here we
Mm-hmm.
are.
Mm-hmm.
Having a person still be in your life after a breakup, especially a long-term one, is
Mm-hmm.
harder. It is much harder. You're trying to move through like the ebb and flow of how you're feeling, and one day you're fine and another day you're not, and that's all it is. I think the main thing that like we're just trying to move forward with and establish is just like mutual respect. We
Yeah.
know we're going to be in the same spaces. We know that we both have love for each other. We still have like a deep care for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think the main thing is just like keeping that deep level of respect
Mm-hmm.
can help push our relationship forward in a positive way. And so that's the main thing. Like right now, we're pretty okay. Like I don't
Mm-hmm.
think we're at like back to being besties with your ex type thing, and I don't think that's where we're aiming for. I think
Mm-hmm.
we want to be friends. We just have to establish what that looks like for us. So it could just be we end up being just sports friends. It's like I only
Mm-hmm.
see you at like the sports things. We only talk about the sports. We really only do the stuff. Um, it's my going out friend. I know I'm going to see you when we're out and about. So we'll talk, we'll catch up on random stuff, we'll talk about high level life stuff and keep it pushing. Um, but yeah, I think we're trying to figure out what that looks like. But I was like, at the end of the day, if we can become friends again, like that would be wonderful. But we have to figure out what that looks like for
Yeah.
us. And the only thing that's gonna help with that is time.
Okay. We ain't good, but we still good, is what Usher said.
Yeah, but we still
But we
good.
still good.
Yes. Thank you, Ursher.
Um,
Thank you, Ursher
I
Meg.
guess last question before we move on. Would you spin the block?
What is wrong with you?
Like, I feel like that is a journalistic question.
What?
Would you spin the block?